Hi, I'm Mark Williams, Tillman's Marketing Director. You know, with literally hundreds of different options for stick welding gloves, we thought it was important to give you some information about how to really be informed when you go out to make that decision. There's really three key components you want to think about when you're selecting a stick welding glove. First of all, the grade of leather. Secondly, the level of insulation and dexterity. And third, what other key features are important to you in that entire stick welding package. Let's talk about leather. There's really two types of leather that we recommend strongly for a stick welding glove. One would be top grain, the other would be cowhide split. But within those two types of leather, there are various grades, so let's go through those. First of all, in top grain cowhide, top grain pigskin, and top grain elk skin. Top grain cowhide, which is generally used in driver style gloves, is also used in stick welding gloves. In this case, the leather is extremely durable, very tough, and quite long lasting. Again, top grain means it's the top level of the animal's hide. This is actually reverse grain pigskin, where the smooth surface of the hide is actually on the inside of the glove and the slightly rougher surface on the outside of the glove. But again, pigskin is good in the wet and oily conditions. And last is top grain elk skin. We really feel this is the premier leather for a stick welding glove. It's featured on our 750 and 850 glove. Elk skin is unique because its fiber structure is such that it does not get hard as quickly when it gets hot. So you have a much more comfortable glove, you're able to wear it longer, and it performs better. Okay, so you got an understanding of what top grain leathers are all about. Let's talk about split cowhide. Split cowhide is really the most popular leather used on a stick welding glove. But it's really important to note that while many stick welding gloves look similar, the grades of the leather can be quite a bit different and yield very different performance characteristics. There's really three grades that we focus on in the cowhide split category. Side split cowhide, which comes from the side of the cow, the least stress, the best fiber structure. Then we move to select shoulder split, which comes from the shoulder of the animal. And within the shoulder, there are better cuts and there are lesser cuts. So we differentiate between select shoulder and standard shoulder. Again, the shoulder split, because it's the shoulder of the animal, as the animal is walking around and grazing, it really takes the most stress, and the leather tends not to last as long as a side split. Many times you can feel this when you're in a store. The side split leathers are going to be much smoother. You'll notice a much tighter, less fuzzy grain. And again, those would be the side split, and they're going to really last quite a bit longer, especially than a shoulder split product. So we've talked about top grain leathers, we've talked about cowhide split leathers. Let's talk a little bit about insulation and dexterity, because this is a very key feature in stick welding and one of the reasons why the gloves are so much heavier duty, to really insulate from the heat, sparks, and spatter. There's really three types of lining that we use at Tillman for our gloves. The first type would be a wool lining, and you can get a little bit of an idea of what wool is. Everybody's familiar with wool from wool clothing, wool socks, etc. Wool is a fabulous insulator both in cooler weather, and it also is going to insulate you from higher heat conditions. The second fabric that we use is what we call a cotton foam insulation. And basically you have a layer of cotton and then a layer of insulating foam underneath that. It's what we call a cotton foam insulation. And we have a number of models that have that throughout the entire glove. This is going to give you excellent heat protection at also a very, very reasonable price. The last type of lining that we use is just a standard cotton lining. We use cotton lining in situations where you want a little bit more dexterity and it does maximize sweat and moisture absorption from the hand. So those are really the three: wool lining, best insulation, cotton foam lining, the next best insulation, and really the most popular, and then cotton insulation for maximum dexterity and moisture absorption. The third question you want to ask yourself is, how much are you willing to pay? We've tried to group products, and we've attached a matrix in this section on the Tillman website that will give you a little bit of an understanding of the various products and what price points they hit. But we really classify them in four areas: super premium, $15 to $30 roughly list price; our premium price range, which would be $8 to $10; our standard $6 to $8; and our economy, which would be $6 and under. This gives you a rough idea in terms of what you're going to get, in terms of what you're going to pay. And last but not least, you have to ask yourself what other key features are important. Features like Kevlar thread, reinforced thumbs, pull straps, all these are extra features that really make a difference in the welding operation and add lots of life to the glove. And again, in our Tillman University section, you'll find a matrix that we developed with all of our stick welding gloves that'll highlight what type of leather they have, what type of insulation, how they rate in terms of good, better, best on dexterity, and where they fall in the price point range. And we hope that these will be a good guide for you in terms of selecting a stick welding glove that will meet your needs best.